What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall market. I'm also going to talk about some big news that came out for Tesla. Tesla's launching Supercharger network in South America. But just notes that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Webull link. If you deposit any amount of money, you're guaranteed 12 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 in total. And deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75. The offer ends very soon, in just about 2 weeks from now. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. So Tesla's just chopping around so far. We got this little pump to about 223, just short of the 224 to 225 target. It was off by about 1 point, only to come back down and just continue this consolidation trend. So we're still kind of stuck in the middle. We're not really doing a whole lot. We have to give this as much time as possible to develop. But for now, Tesla's very, very choppy. Despite this chop that we're seeing, SPY is holding up decently so far, but I still want to give you guys a warning about it because we're holding our 20 EMA very nicely, but you want to be watching to see if we could try to break resistance. And if we do end up losing this later on, we will turn back to bearish. So we're not officially bullish or bearish yet. We're just waiting to see how this develops. And the market is very, very range bound. So that's what's going on so far. But I do have some news to talk about Tesla that's still very bullish for the long term. I want to break that down first before I get into more details. So there's been a lot of talk about how Tesla has once again launched a supercharger network in a new area, and this time it's in Chile, which is a part of South America. This is pretty significant news because when it comes to the way things are moving, launching in South America is going to be a lot more big than a lot of people may be suspecting, and the reason for that is because when you look at data in Latin America itself, we actually saw about 90,000 EVs sales in 2023. That includes Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, and then Mexico. And Mexico is leading the region. So that's actually some interesting news. Now, I'm not saying that the market is that massive compared to like the US and China, but it still is worth it. And I would say every sale that Tesla gets counts because you have to consider that Tesla sales have been on a decline, at least for quite some time. And Tesla could try to get as many sales as possible. So I think it's very important to look at these markets. And then on top of that, I think that by expanding and getting more exposure in these markets, Tesla can also start looking into different, advantages because every single one of these countries, or at least the majority of them, have their comparative advantages. So they have like access to different resources. Like for example, like it's easier to just mine like nickel and particular commodities in different areas. So that could be very, very useful. So I think it's very, very good news for Tesla, at least for the long term. Is this going to affect the share price for the short term? Not necessarily, but for the long term, I think this is great. This could help boost those sales. Even an extra like 10,000 sales for a quarter, an extra 20, 30,000 sales would be very, very awesome. And by expanding this network in different South American countries, this will incentivize more sales. And it's going to be very, very useful. So that is, once again, a good piece of news. They're also working on expanding in Asia. And Tesla has been starting to list some jobs in Chile. So that's what some reports were suggesting last year. Very interesting stuff. I think there was more listings that came out today. I saw that on the news as well. So pretty cool stuff. With more of these supercharger networks being built, that's going to be more useful in different areas. So I think it's a good piece of news. When it comes to other factors out there, there's been some talk about how the Tesla robotaxi network is expected to scale before competitors. According to many people out there, especially these ARK bull analysts, they're saying that once again, there's going to be a lot of growth coming, and they're very excited for what's about to come. So we had Tasha Keeney who has come out. They're basically saying that Tesla's looking for a $10 trillion market globally, and that's going to be how much the robotaxi is going to be worth. Another thing worth noting is that it's going to depend on a lot of time and a lot of the time it takes to get these regulations out of the way. Because you guys can see that a lot of the ambitions of the robotaxi plan are going to depend on the regulatory roadblocks. So there's a lot of regulations right now Tesla has to get past, and that depends on lots of different factors. So the dates of the robotaxi launch could be very nuanced. We don't know if it's going to be like 2 years, 4 years. It could take longer. It all depends. But I'm still very excited for the long term. And I think it's still very, very bullish news. And I agree with ARK's analysis just for the long term. Their short term targets may be met, may not be met, depending on the timing of the robotaxi. But if it comes out soon over the next couple of years, then I agree with what ARK is saying about the share price of Tesla hitting the thousands per share. Anyways, let's talk about the market right now. So I don't want to get way too ahead of myself and talk about, like, 4 or 5 years out. We're just going to focus now on just like the intraday time frames. So Tesla's just trading sideways. It's not really doing much. It's been consolidating in this 220 area. If we go into a smaller time frame, such as the 5 minute, you're going to see that it's just very, very choppy, unfortunately. It's not really doing much. So be careful if you're trading options. You may lose your premium valuations pretty quickly if you're holding them for too long because of choppy days like this. So be careful, guys, for those who are trading options out there. As far as SPY goes, we're also just range bound. So the way we started off, we got this big dump upon open, then we rebounded sharply by about 1.5 points, a little bit under that. Then we came back down. Now we're just trading sideways, not really doing much. Right now, we have resistance at our 580.5 area, our 200 EMA, and the support's basically at 580 flats. If that fails us, we have 579. So 579 to like 581.5 ish is like where our range happens to be. But it's very simple what SPY is going to do. So if hypothetically we lose the 579 supports, this will be dumping a lot more, all the way down to 577 and 575. If we break past 582, we can try to push, but otherwise we're just kind of like range bound. And going back to Tesla, here are the levels. So we're looking at 220. If we get back above that, I'm going to be looking for 222.5, followed by the high of the day, so very close to that range. And then if that breaks, we're looking for the highs of yesterday to be tested very close to the 224s. Those are going to be your two levels to watch for as the key resistances. For support, we're trying to hold 220. If that fails us, we're going to be looking for a move back down towards 217 on Tesla. But for now, we're just very choppy, so I'm not really expecting too much. For ES, we're also kind of choppy. We did push, try to hold above our 20 EMA only to come back down below it. So we're shuffling near 58.67. That is where our 20 EMA happens to be. If we break this, we're looking for basically the 58.80 area. If we reject, we're going to be coming back down towards the low at 58.50, followed by our 50 EMA down there. So overall, we're just kind of stuck in the middle. As far as Bitcoin goes, we are doing a good job at holding up. We're looking at 68,000, so our resistance and support to watch was going to be at 67,000. We're still stuck within that range. For NQ has been dipping so far. We have resistance to watch for at 20,300, and our support to watch for is currently at 20,200. If we lose 20,200, this could be dipping lower. So I'm seeing more weakness in like tech right now compared to the S&P 500. And then the QQQ is barely holding 489 hour 50 EMA. If that fails us, we're looking for 487.5 previous resistance becoming support, followed by the mid 480s. Right now, we look a little bit weaker than SPY. We're just kind of shuffling at 489, but there is a risk of us losing 489.03, our 50 EMA. And just be very, very mindful that there's a little bit more weakness in tech. Apple came down exactly to my target. I was calling out 230. That's where Apple went to. Now we have 230 as our resistance and 228 as the next target if 230 does not hold. For the IWM, Russell 2000, we're trying to push higher for 227. If that breaks, we're looking for 230. Our support's at 225, so it still remains bullish as we held above 225. I said if we held that, we're more bullish. I said Amazon is going to likely come down. That's what happened. We're looking to see if 186 holds. If not, we're at risk of coming down to about 184, and we have resistance at 187. So watch to see which way we go. Meta is also on a bit of a downtrend, hitting lower highs right here. We have we have resistance to watch for around 578, and our main support is going to be down here around 570, so we could be dipping closer to that area. For Microsoft, we're dipping right here. We have resistance to watch for around 417, and if we continue to fall, we're looking for basically the 410 area. For Google's basically looking at support around this 165 area. It's going to shuffle around. If we lose that, we're looking for a bigger dump to 163. Otherwise, we're just going to consolidate. So that's all I'm seeing for now. SPY is trying to hold up, but be careful, guys. We haven't broken past 582 yet to turn really bullish, and we haven't lost 579 to turn more bearish. So we're still kind of stuck in our range. So give it some time. And once again, Tesla is still range bound. It could attempt to push a little higher. Technically, it is possible. It tries to go a little higher slowly, but for the most part, we are still stuck within this range. All right. So that being said, I'll be back for one more update later on today. I appreciate you guys so much for listening. So please have a great day and peace out.